Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Warriors Next Adventure podcast. Sorry I've been gone for a while. I've been pretty busy. I was in Colorado 2 weeks ago. Last weekend was my birthday, so I took a little time off for myself, which is something I rarely do. And then just got back from Tennessee. So sorry for the delay. Had a good time down there with Bobby Bray, shooting some AKs and a couple other things we were probably not supposed to shoot. It's Tennessee though, and we're off in the holler, so who cares? Today we are brought to you by TCal Knives. Now, I've talked about these knives a lot, and there's a reason for it. This guy, he was doing so well with his knife sales and everything like that before COVID, and he actually got invited to be on Forged in Fire, and he turned them down because business was so good. And then COVID hit, and of course everything got screwed. And so he actually reached out to me, and he made us an awesome deal. So if you go to tcalknives.com, you can actually go to buy your knives and everything like that. In the checkout, if you type promo code WARRIOR, you will not only get 10% off, but he will donate that 10% to Warriors Next Adventure. So you get an awesome knife, and you also get some cool stuff. So we are also brought to you by Buffalo Custom Engraving. Now, I don't have my mug on me right now. I'm sorry, but we have water bottles, and we also have tumblers that they're making for us. So they're black, and it's like a silver laser engraving. It's pretty sweet. So pretty much the way it works is if you go on warriorsnextadventure.com and go to the store, you'll see the cups on there, and it'll take you to their website. So the checkout is going to be different. So you have to go to their website, purchase it from them, and then what they do at the end of every month, they send us a check. So if you guys want an awesome tumbler, which I actually kept coffee in that thing for like 9 hours the other day because I forgot about it and I'm stupid. And it was actually still warm when I went to drink it. So it's actually good stuff. So I don't partner up with people unless I believe in their stuff. I have a TCal knife. I use it for everything. And I use my tumbler for everything. It's dirty because I just used it yesterday. So go check it out. So today, my guest is David Ogden. I hope I said that right. I just asked him. He's the creator of Veteran Dad Health and Fitness. He is a online health and fitness coach. He was in the Navy, and I'm going to let him explain more about what he does because he's smarter than me. So likely we're going to talk a little bit about fitness, being healthy, and I wanted to pick his brain a little bit about the carnivore diet since I'm on it again. So we'll bring him on. David, nice to meet you, man.
Hey, man, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. So a little bit about yourself. You were in the Navy. When did you join? How long were you in? What did you do?
I wasn't in the Navy too long. I joined for the SEALs program. I went in there just, I wish, looking back, I wish I picked a different rate going in and had served a little bit more time, like maybe as a corpsman. But went in through the 800 division and boot camp. And then after that, went into the buds or pre-buds and then buds. And then ended up having a stroke while I was in the training due to a PFO, which is a hole between the right and left atrium. And what happens if you don't know what your heart actually does? We filter our blood through our lungs just to reoxygenate the blood. So what happened is when you're going through some type of training like that, either one, you're going to go quad, or two.
Sorry, we got to guess. Keep going.
Or two, we're just going to pump so much unoxygenated blood to the brain. When I was about to test out, they told me I was just getting out, So it was a big bummer for me. It was a big bummer because I trained for that for so long because that's something I wanted to do. Went down like a spiral, man. Like just started drinking, started making bad decisions. It was really in a dark place at that point. And I know a lot of other out there, getting out, is not easy at all. It's not easy because we have this brotherhood when we're in the military, and we have this accountability while we're in the military, and then that's all just stripped away from us.
Yeah,
and it's hard to cope with that.
Well, especially with that, heart condition too, because nobody could have seen that coming too.
Oh yeah, I mean they didn't catch that in MEPS or anything. Like it's actually quite common. So they told me it's 1 in 4 people actually have that condition. It happens at birth. So your blood's flowing the opposite direction when you're in your mom's stomach. And that's what that hole's for. Now, when you take your first breath, that hole's supposed to close. Well, what happened to mine is it just kinked. Mine was about, yay big. And there's guys out there that certainly have bigger holes, and it is a blessing that it was caught, because if I had gotten into the diving portion of the training,
that would have sucked.
Serious implications there. And it's serious. So, I
probably
look
would
at
have
it.
worked well if you're doing a mission, using friggin' diving gear and shit, and you have a heart attack or a stroke while you're underwater, that probably
Yeah,
wouldn't turn
that
out
would
well.
be miserable. So, it is like, a blessing to me that, I mean, that didn't happen. I'm still here today, you know, but that's what happened there. That's pretty much the extent of my Navy career. When I got dropped out of the program, I actually went and worked for Bud's Medical. So that's where we take care of all the guys that are going through, as well as anybody that's on that base. We're going to take care of them.
Cool.
How
did you get into that?
Health, the health field there. I had already been kind of in and out of the health field before the Navy. Nothing real big, like like lifeguarding. I went to EMT school, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But health really, just flared up in me when I was going through working for Bud's Medical, because we had, it was just a small unit there, and it was basically an ER and a physical therapy area all in one. So I got to really dabble in all areas of medical. Towards the end, before I got out, I mean, the docs were actually letting me do, patients almost basically start to finish. And I was an undesignated seaman. Like you literally just handle the papers. This is what I did. Like, okay, great, check,
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool, man. And see, I like that you didn't just tuck and run, because like there's a lot of people, man, fuck this shit, and then get out and get pissed, It just shows the dedication that you had, that you actually stayed and, did as much as you could on the offside. So I tell people often, man, there's a lot of folks who reach out to me for, any kind of mental health issues, and like, listen, man, like I need somebody to talk to. Like, I was in basic training and I got med boarded and everything. It's like, I don't know who to talk to. And like, dude, whatever, you tried. I mean, shit happens, it's not something that you chose to do. Like, there's a lot of people, obviously you definitely didn't choose that, considering it was from like a birth defect and everything. So you still tried, you still signed up, you still made the attempt. And there's a lot of honor in that as well. I mean, there's a lot of people that never even think about joining the military. And there's plenty of people who try, who just physically, it just doesn't work out. It sucks. So it's like you're stuck in like a gray zone. It's like, who do you talk to about this shit, So I mean, I'd never turn anybody down who needs to talk. I mean, there's plenty of civilians that I talk to as well, but just the fact that you stayed and you continued to actually try to help as much as you can, that's awesome. I like that. So how did you get into fitness? Like, what was your deciding factor to finally move into that realm?
Yeah, so like I said, in Bud's Medical, I did a little bit of work with the physical therapists while I was in there. Not quite as much. They wanted us, kind of on the floor, giving people their shots, and people that are coming in with various injuries from Bud's. Mm-hmm. But when I got out, it was that desire or that, maybe not desire isn't the right word, but that drive that I got to do something, right? Yeah. So when I got out, I knew I was going to go to school. But I needed a job. And I didn't just want any job. I didn't want to just go find any minimum wage job and just, nothing against anybody that's doing minimum wage, but that wasn't for me. So I instantly looked into personal training. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't the idea for my career at the point. That was just something I wanted to do while I was going through school. Right? I was going to go through school and be, a physical therapist. So I was going all the way up. And I found that I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed when the men and women that I was working with then, when they would tell me how well they were doing, how much better they were feeling. The most amazing thing that had happened to me is I had a client that got off blood pressure medication. And I was like, I did that? Like, I mean, I didn't physically do that and say you're off. His doctor told him he didn't have to take it anymore. But that's awesome, and that was such a great feeling. That's really when, my life started to just go back up. I found a purpose. I found another purpose. And it wasn't like the first year that happened. There's trial and error. There's being a new personal trainer at that time. I was just like, okay, what the hell did I do? Like, just kind of throw the gauntlet. But I then started to really dive into research a little bit more, because as I was going through school, like I said, I was getting my bachelor's in health science. Yeah. And I was learning how to actually read research, read these peer-reviewed articles and kind of digest them. And I actually liked it. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. Yeah. And so I started looking up some articles that, were related to my field. Since I was going into physical therapy anyways, I said, okay, well, I can look at nutrition. I can look at fitness, because that's what I'm doing now. And just more and more, I fell in love with just helping people in this type of way. I still wanted to be a physical therapist, but what happened there is, applying to physical therapy school was just, it's something that just didn't happen to be in the cards, because most of the schools out there, they're going to take, let's see, down here, one of the schools I applied to, University of Central Florida, they take, I think, 36 people a year.
Oh, damn.
Therapy program. They get about 2,000 to 3,000 applicants a year. They review 200. They will interview maybe 100, and they'll accept like 36 people.
Oh my God.
Every
That's
single
quite
year.
Process.
Yeah. And the classes start in the summer and then go on from there. They don't do every single semester. Now there's schools like University of St. Augustine. I think they have 2 start dates, but it was either keep trying to apply to that every single year, or just realize that, hey, I'm really good at this. Yeah. I really love this. There's actually something here. And I was right. This is what I love to do.
Yeah, and I've been paying attention to you since you invited me to that group. I don't remember if you invited me or if I just joined. I think you sent me an invite. I don't remember. But yeah, I've actually been reading this guy for a long time now. So I'm actually going for my I'm getting ready to take my NASM test too. So nice. I've been helping people on the side, just basic nutrition. So I started studying nutrition back in 2015. As many people know, 2015 was a terrible yet awesome year for me. I had a unfortunate suicide attempt in 2015. Luckily, I suck at killing myself, so here I am. So I decided that after that, I wanted to be a fighter again, because I had fought in the military once. And I had done some boxing matches and trained jiu-jitsu and everything. I'm like, this is awesome. I can't wait. So I was going through a divorce, and she actually made me quit. So I'm like, all right, a big fuck you to her. I'm going to start training again. And I fought like 3 months after I left her, which was awesome. But I started digging into nutrition because I wanted to be at the best, I wanted to be at my peak performance, but I'm not big on paying other people to do things for me. I want to learn how to do it myself. I'm stubborn as shit. But so if you follow jujitsu and like the Gracie way, right, is your body is a temple. You need to take in good carbs, good food, good proteins. And you'll lose weight, you'll get in shape, and you'll actually be a better person overall. And your jiu-jitsu game will actually improve if you're watching your nutrition. So I started reading books and watching videos and doing everything I could to just learn about nutrition. And I learned mainly, counting macros and everything initially. And then learning what good fats were and bad fats were and everything. So I actually started to really get deep into it. And then I actually had a few people reach out like, hey, can you help me lose some weight? And I'm like, I'm not like certified or anything, but yeah, follow me. And I didn't charge them anything because I'm not certified or anything like that. I work better with people who are obese or extremely overweight, because helping people actually build muscle and everything, I can't, I'm not good at that. When it comes to basic fitness and basic nutrition and helping people actually just get on a right path, that's something I'm really good at. And I think that's where my coaching really has helped me in, this nonprofit business. I think overall I'm at like 350 pounds lost between like 7 or 8 people. So I was like, that's pretty good.
That's real good. Yes.
Yeah. But like you were saying, why are you naked? Interesting. Hey, go get some pants on. Go. Come on. Yeah. Charlie's having a good day today. But like what you were saying, when it comes to like how good it felt when you actually saw somebody get off the blood pressure medication, when I saw that person actually hit that 100-pound mark, like just seeing the smile on her face was completely different from the day that we started, from the day that she finally hit that mark that she wanted. I scrolled through her Facebook and I did some creepy shit. So we're friends. So I found a picture right about the time that we started, and I found a picture after she had gotten that weight off, and it's just night and day, man. You could just see the happiness on her face, right? I'm like, look, you did this, right? I just helped you, but you did this. And I was like, that's awesome to actually empower somebody to realize that they have 100% control of their life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's one of the most incredible feelings too. Like when you have someone has come up to, and it doesn't even have to do with fitness. If someone comes up to you for something that and you can help them understand what you know, and then it clicks for them, and then you can finally understand, they finally understand that. It's just such a great feeling, not only for them, but for you as well. Because you're like, I didn't just hoard this information.
Yeah.
This person can actually do this stuff on their own now.
Exactly. And that's where, like, I have had a few personal trainers give me shit because it's like the whole no, how dare you help people get better at their life without charging them and not being certified? Like, oh, sorry for helping people, prick. So I want to actually get certified because, with a couple other medical issues I got going on, my likelihood of reaching 100% disability for the VA is pretty likely. But I want to do this nonprofit full time, but I don't want to have to take any money from the nonprofit as a salary. I'm not against that if it gets big enough and there's actual need for it. Sure, if my board decides that, whatever. But what I'd rather do is make money on the side. And so personal training is actually something that I'm looking for, to have some extra money. I'm going to do it free for veterans, but civilians, I'm going to use that as a moneymaker.
Well, you're definitely on the right track using NASM. I mean, NASM is what I hold as well for my personal training. But my advice for if you were to continue with that, don't look at the things that you learned in any personal training certification and say that's the end all be all.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what I learned through NASM. Like I don't remember most of that stuff. All the stuff that I do that I use for nutrition, for exercise, for mindset, for habit change, all that stuff is stuff that I researched after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you're going to really see, the bigger results with your clients. And it sounds like you're right on the way, and you're doing good by that. So just don't just stick with NASM, definitely, but definitely their teachings are going to be very good to get you, started on the right path.
Yeah, and what I've talked to a lot of people who are actually certified by NASM, it's like, listen, have your own methods. And I already do. I got my own methods. I got my own theories. I got the things I'm going to do on my own. I'm already doing it. I just don't charge people because legally I can't, because I'm not certified. So the certification will at least open me up to be able to make some money on the side, even if it's only like, $100, $200, whatever. It doesn't matter as long as it's something. Because if I do get that 100%, I mean, I'm going to be fine. My mortgage payment's pretty low. I got a really tiny house for that reason. But I don't really need to make that much money to actually be able to survive. Mainly it's just like to have money to travel. If the nonprofit doesn't pay for me to travel, I can do it myself. So, it's just a way for me to have an income just in case, How long have you actually been doing this? What year did you actually start?
So I started my personal training journey in 2013. So I got out August 15th, 2013, and jumped straight into studying my NASM curriculum, got the certification, and then just hit it from there. I started dabbling in online training back in August in 2019. Actually, before that, and I started doing some online training with some people. Didn't take it too seriously. It was just something I was doing on the side, just taking a look at it. It wasn't really until the coronavirus where it was like, okay, I need to take this real serious. I knew I could get people the results in the gym, and it was just how to translate it to online, and doing very well doing that. Getting people some positive results right now online. So it's actually, I'm noticing it's more attainable to get their goals because I can give them more than what I could in person. In person, I found that, okay, you're subject to my schedule, right? So you see me, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or if, maybe just Monday and Friday. And most of the time when people come to see a personal trainer in person, they're coming for fitness, right? Yeah. I would give diet plans, meal plans. I'd give, mindset tips. I'd give all this stuff that would definitely help them, and it all collect dust. But when you go with an online coach, I can plan your workouts depending on what days you want to work out. If you want to work out Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, I can plan your workouts that way because you don't have to actually see me in person and be subject to my schedule to come to my gym, right? I can email you all any lessons that you need to get. I can track you in real time with my software and just see as you're plugging in your workouts and your nutrition. I can see you in real time that you're plugging that stuff in, and I can reach out to you and say, hey, this needs to fix. So I'm finding that it's actually a little bit better doing stuff online. I can reach more people. I can help more people, and whether or not they're and that's why I made the group, because my group has people in there that either are clients of mine or they're asking for advice.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm able to help all the people in my group, whether they want to work with me directly or they don't want to work with me directly and just want to get some of the, I have some free challenges in there, and I'm going to be running some more as well for the guys to do. So there's levels of people in that group. So I'm finding that online training, online coaching is definitely more beneficial, at least in my eyes, as doing the one-on-one in-person stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, getting paid to do that stuff is great. But like you said, like the feeling of actually seeing somebody improve their life, that's a great feeling. You know, like I get that with Warriors Next Adventure all the time, because mainly what I work with is mindset. Is the whole thing that I do is mindset. You know, the mountain climbing, the wolves that we play with, you know, the race cars, all that stuff. It's all a mask. You know, I tell people often, like, it's just a mask. You know, it's the tools that we're using to get people in a better mindset, because it's going to be really hard for somebody when they just get out of work or something like that to actually sit and talk about their feelings. They're just going to be like, dude, fuck off. But you get somebody in a vulnerable state, whereas, you know, recently, sorry, Kevin, I'm going to dog you out. I brought my buddy Kevin. He moved up here from Kentucky, and I brought him up to go see the wolves. We have this place. It's called Operation Wolf Dog. That's the name of our program. We team up with Minnesota Wolf Dogs, and they have a bunch of hybrid wolves. So they're all timber wolf, Alaskan gray wolf, mixed with like shepherd or Malamute or something like that. So we go into Diesel's cage. Diesel is the alpha. Now, when Diesel stands up, I'm 6'2". When Diesel stands up, his head is taller than me. He's a big animal. And he was fucking terrified when he went inside that cage. And so just seeing him react, because I read people very easily. It's really easy for me to tell when somebody's like nervous, scared, happy, mad, sad. And he was fucking terrified. Sorry, Kevin, I love you. But when he went in there, it was just really cool to see him kind of just completely break down. Not like emotionally, but he's so vulnerable in that situation right there. I love that fucking state, because if I get people into that mindset, into that state, they're more apt to actually take in what I'm telling them. Same as fitness. I notice that when I'm doing fitness stuff, or if we're doing like a mountain climb, the mountain climbs are usually what really bring it out in people, because they're fucking exhausted. So when you get to that state where your body is physically or mentally exhausted, you're much more apt to actually receive information and actually have it sink in. So I've noticed that when you actually get people doing these kind of things, you can tell them whatever they need to hear at these moments, and the likelihood of them actually changing their mind and changing their habits, it's the chances are much higher. So like when you do like fitness and stuff like that, do you also try to do mindset coaching as well?
Oh yeah, I try to cover all the aspects. So I'm going to have some mindset shifts that my guys do. I hammer it, like mental toughness is definitely a big thing. Especially depending on your goals. You know, some of the guys, you know, there's certain things that they can't do. You know, that's because of maybe injuries that they might have. But there's still a sense of mental toughness that you need to implement to do things that you need to do. Like
exactly.
Whether you're on a certain nutrition plan, there's going to be some mental toughness there, you know, to avoid just sugars. You know, there's some mental toughness there. Some guys are going to be harder than others. You know, we're not all wired to automatically have the same drive as the next person. So it's the ability to tap into someone's mind and find that key that fits that lock that they have, you know, and that finally unlocks. And it's a different point for everybody. It's not going to be like some guys, they'll get into a fitness plan or nutrition or whatever they're doing, and it might take them a couple seconds, and then everything unlocks and they're ready to go. You know, another guy, maybe a few months will go by and he'll fight his coach and be like, no, I need to do this. No, I researched this, and no, this. So when you start contradicting your coach like that, then you're not turning that key. You're making excuses.
Yep.
Eventually that key turns and like, oh, okay, something's happening here. And then a couple weeks go by after that key has been turned and we've turned on your mental toughness. All of a sudden the results just like skyrocket. You know, you see that happen. And those are those points like you and I have been talking where we start feeling good about seeing these results that these people are getting. And that's usually when that key has just been turned, is that first feeling you get.
Yeah, whenever I was like losing weight for fights and stuff like that, which actually I just realized my MMA page was still up. Somebody followed it and liked one of the things on there. I'm like, I didn't even know this still existed. So I watched that show, The Kingdom. You ever seen that?
I haven't seen that one yet.
So it's with Frank Grillo. It's on Netflix right now, but it's about cage fighters, and it's a fabulous, it's an amazing series. I absolutely loved it. There's a petition out right now to bring back season 4. But yeah, I fucked up and I watched that, and of course it lit the fire again, and I'm just ready to go. But now I start thinking about all the fitness stuff with it. So like whenever I was getting to the point where I had to lose a bunch of weight. So usually most fights I'd have to lose about 20 pounds. I fought at 170 and I walked around, I want to say right about I was 195, 190 or so, like that. So depending on whatever it was, usually about 3 months out, I'd adjust my diet to be in a calorie deficit, but making sure I have the nutrition to actually keep going, because you're working out 3-4 hours a day, and you're working out 5 days a week if you can, 6 days a week, minimum of 12 hours a week in the gym, doing boxing, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, wrestling, whatever you can do. I usually aimed for about 16 hours, but to be honest, everything just keeps falling into place, and I'm starting to think about like maybe coming back. If I ever do quit my job, I can train full time, and I'm actually debating on making a comeback. But man, when you start thinking about the dieting and the mental toughness that it takes to be a fighter, because not only do you have to have the mental ability, you have to have the physical ability too. So if your mind and body are not matching up, man, it is fucking hard to get to that goal. What are some of the things that you tell people to get their mindset in the right place if maybe some of the workouts just aren't working for them, or they just maybe can't find the energy to get out and do it?
Well, that's a tough one because it's different per person. People are going to respond differently. So sometimes it's trial and error, and I'll try to just have a conversation with them just to nail down, okay, what's going on? Why is this not happening? And sometimes it's not always mental toughness. Sometimes it's just a scheduling issue. But if I have a client of mine that isn't really responding well to certain exercises, well, first of all, I'm going to have them record themselves doing it so I can make sure, one, A, they're doing it right,
Yeah.
and
Keep them in
B,
check.
yeah, and B, if everything's going right there, I'm going to ask them, obviously how they're feeling when they do the exercise, because I want to make sure there's no pain there. And if I narrow it down to mental toughness, then now I can have that conversation with them. It's like, okay, what do we need to do to implement this? So what's working really well for a lot of the guys is these things right here. I use sticky notes for everything.
Gotcha. Thought it was a condom at first. I'm like,
sticky note, a sticky note posted on your bathroom mirror, telling you where you're at right now. If you're not happy with where you're at and you write that on your sticky note in the bathroom mirror, that's a very powerful, powerful thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I'm for like any type of like, body shaming or anything like that, but there is something to be said in the psychology of ourselves if we remind ourselves that we're not where we want to be.
Yeah.
We start getting that drive to be somewhere else. We all have these dreams. We're all technically dreamers. We all look at, whether we're watching superhero shows and we're like, yeah, I want to be Captain America. Those are unachievable dreams. But we have other dreams that, okay, I want to lose legitimately 50 pounds, and I want to see my six pack, or I want to just start eating clean, or I want to stop drinking alcohol or quit smoking. No matter what it is, these are feasible, right? If you write down on a note, write a note to yourself and remind yourself that, one, that's what you want to do, and two, you're not there. That's powerful. That can be very, very powerful for a lot of guys. I haven't seen really many men that don't do well with this. I see a lot of men.
It's like in the military, we do fat shame each other. If somebody's looking pudgy, you'd be like, hey, fat boy, quit eating so much. Maybe you should get back to the gym or something like that. So it's not. I like your theory on this too, because me and my girlfriend talk about this often. Mara's a bodybuilder, so she keeps me in check a lot. If I'm not staying up to her physical requirements, she'll let me know. But we have this conversation often. So usually after a workout, I used to think it was super douchey to like look in the mirror and flex and see like some of the points that you like, some of the things that you don't like. So usually when I do that, I'm looking for the pieces that I don't like. Not that I'm shaming myself, like you said, but I'm seeing where I can improve, because you can always improve, always. If you have like nice traps, nice shoulders, nice chest, but I got a little pudgy on the side, like me, I love pizza, so I'm probably never gonna have a six pack. I'm gonna try, but it's probably not gonna happen. But I see the things that I don't like, and I use that to focus on, not in a negative manner, just like, hey, I can make this better. So I like the fact that you're going down that road. It really helps.
Oh yeah, and it's something that's definitely helped out a lot. I've been using that tactic for a while now. The other tactic that I'm noticing works very well is accountability, group accountability. And again, going back to the group that I have now, the guys that I find that are actually posting more about their own progress, the guys that are posting their meals, the guys that are posting, their personal records in there. These guys are the ones that are doing well, because one, it's another psychology thing going on in there.
Yeah.
If you're posting, whether it's in my group or your profile or wherever it is, if you're posting on there, you got a following of people that are expecting another post from you, right? So now it's not only you're keeping yourself accountable for the group's keeping you accountable, saying, where's your post? Like, you were going to post this, and we want to know, are you doing better? Are you making progress? Or are you maintaining what's going on? So it's very powerful to have that community where you can keep each other accountable. Because going back, and that's why I specifically want to work with veteran dads, is, back in the military, like we said before, we had that accountability. We had that brotherhood, whether it was our brothers and sisters in the military, keeping us accountable, or our superiors making us be accountable.
Yeah.
Either way, we had that system of accountability. And then we get out of the military, and then, like I said, it's all taken away. We're lone wolf. That just doesn't work. We're not wired to lone wolves. I'm sorry. Most of us veterans, none of us are hardwired to be a lone wolf, and we should.
Yeah, my buddy Chad and I can't reveal why we're training, but there's a group of 4 of us training for a race. Hopefully I can reveal it soon. But Chad actually climbed a mountain with us back in 2019. So my first big WNA top 50, we climbed the highest mountain peak in New York, and he wasn't in the greatest shape. This motherfucker's lost 30 pounds in the last year because he felt shitty that he couldn't just run up that mountain, right? So he lost 30 pounds. He runs all the time. I sent him one of my rash guards because it's actually really good for like bicycling. So he bikes to and from work all the time. Like, he completely changed his mindset, because halfway up the hill, of course, we're fucking with each other, because me and him are really good friends. I call him Fat Boy all the time, poking his stomach. And it sounds fucked up, but like, we have that relationship. I wouldn't just do that to anybody. I'm not just going to poke somebody who's overweight, be like, hey, fatty. That's not cool. But we're friends, so we have a different relationship. But the accountability, like you're saying, of each other, we need to be accountable. And now that we're training for this race, this dude every morning sends me a picture of he's got like a bike and he's got all kinds of stuff at his gym. And he sends me a picture of his workout every morning. I'm like, shit, I'm not even doing that yet. So he's making me feel like a shithead because I haven't started, ramping it up yet, So it's that accountability thing it's really important. But you also have to know your audience too. You got somebody who's, ashamed, you can't sit there and fat shame them. It's going to hurt more than it's going to help.
Absolutely.
Jamie wants to know if you only work with men.
I do. Right now, I mean, that can change in the future. Right now, I'm just working with veteran guys, veteran men's that are also dads, because I wanted to help a group of people like myself. That is going to possibly change in the future. If you are looking for veteran women, I am a part of a bigger community of trainers and online coaches that I can definitely point you in the right direction if you're looking for a coach that does work with women. So if you want to reach out to me, I can point you in the right direction. Absolutely.
There you go, Jamie. So before we talked about a week or two ago about the carnivore diet. So this is something that, obviously everybody hears it on Joe Rogan and shit. And then Jordan Pierce and all these guys talking about it really helps autoimmune disease and all these other things. So the basic overview of the carnivore diet, which I was on for a period of time, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I have really bad inflammation in my shoulder and my neck. I broke my neck in 2016, and I had 2 vertebrae that were twisted, and one of the discs popped out. So they had to cut a piece of that disc off, so it would relieve the pressure on my nerve. So when they did that, they rotated the vertebrae back. One of them cracked a little bit, and so I always have inflammation issues. It mainly shoots down my shoulder still. So I think it starts in my neck, and it starts to inflame the nerve, and the nerve shoots through my shoulder. So what I noticed when I was on the carnivore diet was my inflammation was damn near gone. It was amazing. I absolutely loved it. So did you find anything on your research that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, when you asked me about the carnivore diet, I wasn't super up on the research on that, but yeah, I did definitely dive in to some of my research that I already had and some new stuff. But it's actually quite interesting what I found, and again, I'm not saying everybody go do this diet. Diets, my opinion of a diet, of any diet out there, it could be the #1 diet in the world, but if it doesn't work for you, it's not the #1 diet for you, right?
Yeah.
So you got to find something that works for you first off. So if it's working for you, do it. As far as the carnivore diet, I can pretty confidently say that I'm okay with that. I personally preach, well balanced meals, but there is some interesting stuff that I found with.
It's from what I noticed. Sorry, go ahead.
There's definitely some, because my concern was obviously going to be malnutrition, and quickly, like the very first things that I saw there, that's actually not the case, because our bodies are actually going to absorb. We have a certain amount of nutrients we need every day, our daily recommendation of nutrients. And one of the biggest concerns is obviously going to be vitamin C. Right. So we want to make sure that we have that vitamin C, so we don't have that type of deficiency.
I usually just supplement.
Is our daily recommendations? If we're only eating meat, those daily recommendations are actually going down, right? So that's actually really cool to see that. Okay, and then it makes sense, because I've seen the same thing happen in an all vegan diet. I've seen things happen, in all these other diets. What happens is our bodies are perfect at adapting. Our bodies want to adapt to things, all right? So if we're only eating vegetables, our body's going to adapt to that way. If we're only eating, meat, our bodies are going to adapt. Different people, and that's why you see all these different diets working so well. Oh, this diet is so great, and it must be the best diet. It's like, no, what's happening is our bodies are actually adapting to this different way of eating.
Yeah, it's frustrating when people think that
that's just how we are. You look at different people across the globe, in different communities, different religions, different, however these people are eating. You have fishing villages out there that really are only eating fish, and they're doing absolutely well. You have other places, and the only people that aren't really doing super well happens to be us as Americans, who have McDonald's on every corner. Right? That's why we're not doing well. And our diet doesn't help. Wackadoo. But if you see these communities that are eating, naturally the foods that we should be eating, and it's to their global positioning, they're actually doing quite well. And I think that's really cool, that you can avoid things even such as like scurvy by doing the carnivore diet. Because that was one of the first things I looked up. It's like, okay, well, this is my concern was vitamin C. Vitamin C deficiency could cause something like scurvy. And like in the Joe Rogan podcast, they actually talked about that too. That was one of the last things I looked at just before I came in here. But it's really cool, because that's a dangerous thing that can kill you.
Yeah. A lot of people talk about that and say it's a nerve-wracking thing. I was like, I did it for 45 days strict, 0 carbs for 45 days, and it was awesome. I'd wake up in the morning. I do intermittent fasting mixed with it. So my body's a fat burning machine. My body reacts really well to food and diet. So I know that if I want a 6-pack, it's very easy for me. I just got to stop eating those certain things. And it's just hard for me because I love cupcakes and pizza. So, I mean, when I'm strict on the carnivore diet, it's really easy for me. What I noticed in my 45 days was my inflammation was damn near gone after about 2 weeks or so. You're going to have issues in the bathroom for the first week, maybe the first week or two, just because your body has to adjust to digest everything properly. I saw that there was issues with vitamin C, so I just supplemented. I just took in an extra dose of vitamin C just to make sure I was well over what the recommended or the recommended thing is. But I also take zinc, and there's a pill pack that my girlfriend makes for me that I just take because she tells me to. So pretty sure she beat me if I don't. And then on top of that, it's just water and coffee. I I struggle with coffee because I love coffee, and I love creamer. I'm kind of a bitch, so I can't drink black coffee. So I struggle with that. And then the best part was I used to drink a lot of energy drinks. When I stopped that, it's everything changed because you don't realize that Monsters, it's like 27 grams of sugar per serving. There's 2 servings in that can. So a lot of people don't understand is you're getting 52 grams of sugar in one fucking can of Monster, right?
Yeah.
I know that's bad, but it's something that I'm addicted to, and it's been very hard for me to stop. So I've gone down from like one a day, like for the last few years, down to like maybe one a week or something like that. So I'm not worried about a little bit of carbs here and there, but when I was strict on my diet, it was super easy. I'd wait until probably about 12 o'clock to eat. And what I would do is I would just I'd take a pound of either bison, or I'd take a pound of beef or a pound of deer meat, whatever I had. And I would just cook it up, put some seasonings on it, make sure that there was 0 carbs in the seasonings. I was super strict the first time I did it. And so I'd eat that, and you essentially just eat to your full. You don't really have to worry about your serving sizes. If you're hungry, eat. That's the best part about the carnivore diet. You don't really have to track anything, really, as long as you're not eating carbs and you're staying on just meat and eggs. Asiago cheese is actually 0 carb, so you can actually put Asiago cheese on there. Most hard cheeses are 0 carb. Those little Baby Bell things that come in like the red wrappers?
Yeah.
Those are 0 carb as well. So I don't eat a lot of them. I'll eat like one a day or something like that, just to get a little bit of a mix up. And it's such an easy diet. When you get home, you cook a ribeye or a New York strip. The main thing you have to think about is you have to make sure you're getting enough fat. It's, from what I saw, the recommended is about a 70-30. So 70% fat, 30% protein. And I'll be honest, man, I've never felt better. I felt like a fucking animal. I didn't get tested, but I felt like my testosterone was up. I recently got my blood checked, and my testosterone was slightly above average. And I started my carnivore diet after that. So I'm going to try it for about 2 months, and I'm going to check to see where my testosterone levels are, to see if there is possibly any kind of difference. There has been people talking about the possibility of increasing testosterone and everything because, look at lions. Joe Rogan obviously uses the lion example. Lions only eat meat, and they're jacked, So we'll see. I just started it again, and I kind of wanted to see your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that needs to be flushed out a little bit more in research. But certainly, we don't need to. Obviously, we don't want to make the mistake of comparing ourselves to lions, because we're not lions, right?
Yeah, I know.
We're not lions. Every animal's gonna respond differently. But it's interesting that you mentioned that you did end up having to supplement with vitamin C.
I didn't know if I had to, but I did, just in case.
You didn't necessarily have to, but yes, if you start seeing a decrease, I recommend everyone to get their levels checked. Get all your levels checked. If you see something is not right, that's the only time I ever recommend anybody go on supplementation. No matter what the diet they're doing, if your levels are decreased and you can't get it from nutrition, you need to supplement. You should always try to get everything strictly from nutrition at the best you can. That's going to be the best. But as far as vitamin C, now you can still have a carnivore diet and get your vitamin C as long as you're eating the organs as well. So if you're eating the organs of an animal, if you're eating the liver, if you're eating the brain stem, that kind of stuff, those are packed. Those are packed with like the vitamin C. Even I think the bone marrow as well. So if you start actually implementing those things and not just eating the meat, because you don't want to go straight in and hear, okay, carnivore diet, that means I'm going to just eat meat. A lot of people make that mistake that they don't do the research first. So it's important that you do your research first
Yeah.
to see what it really is. It doesn't just mean, I mean, if anybody heard me today say, hey, carnivore diet is the best, and they're like, I don't have to do any research. I just need to take the buns off my McDonald's.
Yeah.
No,
No, there's so much more that goes into it.
research, do your due diligence, and that's why people like us exist. We all live in a community where we delegate things to other people to do this research so that you can listen to these people to understand what you should be doing. I'm not expecting the guy that works on my car to know everything about health and nutrition. I'm not expecting everything about my vehicle.
Yep.
That's why I've delegated him to do the things that I can't do. Yes, I can work my way a little bit around my vehicle, but not enough to really, fix any major issues,
Yeah. Yeah. I have yet to find a good recipe for chicken liver. It's fucking disgusting. It's so gross. I usually cook it with butter and onions. And I don't eat the onions, but it does add a little flavor. And I found if you just throw it down and try not to throw up, it's disgusting. I've never liked it, and I just I can't find a good mix for it.
Not bone marrow yet, but it's called the butter of the gods.
A lot of people do the bone broth with the marrow still in it, and then either eat the marrow or just drink the broth because the broth soaks up almost everything. I'm not a huge fan, to be honest. But I do try to mix it up. So I try to eat salmon at least once a week, sometimes twice a week. And Jennifer said, I know you're talking about important stuff, but you're so hot. You got a fan, David. So I try to mix it up as much as possible. I'll try to do some kind of fish at least twice a week, usually salmon. And I'll also go for not only beef, but I'll mix it in with some bison. I got a bunch of deer meat. Thanks to one of my veterans, gave me a bunch of deer. And I just try to mix it up. And a lot of folks go straight to the same thing. The one good thing about carnivore is it's super easy to make your diet because you don't have to think. You just have to say, oh, what kind of meat am I going to eat today? And then you have to start thinking about what, am I going to have organs today or am I going to have organs tomorrow? I would say try to eat organs at least minimum once a week. Minimum. As much as I absolutely fucking hate it, I try my best.
Just plug your nose, right? Do the old.
What's that? Yeah. Just slam it. Take a big chug of milk and just throw it down. And then on top of that, I'll also supplement as well because I know I'm not eating enough organs. So I try to take in as much supplementation as possible. I also take, it's a form of alpha brain. You ever heard of alpha brain?
Say that again.
Have you heard of alpha brain? Joe Rogan pushes it from On It all the time, but it's supposed to it's brain health supplementation. And I tried it for like a week straight just to see if I noticed anything. And I did notice a little bit of clarity. I was sleeping better that week too, so it's hard to tell if it was because of sleep or not. But you could probably attest to this. Sleep is so important for your body to heal. You'd probably know more about that.
There's so many processes in our body that we need to lock down. If we're unhealthy right now, we have so many hormones that we don't even think about. I mean, we got our hunger hormone, ghrelin. We got leptin that's telling us when we should stop eating. We got people that are eating too quickly that should be taking a little bit longer. We got people that aren't sleeping well enough and getting well rested sleep in order to set up a process that our body can follow in order to lose weight, build muscle, or just be healthy. There's so many things that need to be locked into place, and it all fits like a puzzle. Our bodies, they want to be back into what's called homeostasis. So our bodies want to be able to be in a healthy state. When we're unhealthy, we're actually fighting that. So we're trying to get back. Now, there's other ways that, exercise and nutrition, like we'll have to fight against our body again if we want to be like a bodybuilder. Again, that's not natural either. So we have to actually fight against homeostasis there. But our body is going to naturally want to be in it's the state that we should be in. And we can lock those hormones back in place if we have our circadian rhythm set in. We're eating at the proper times of day. We're taking the right amount of time to eat, and we're sticking to a very similar meal plan. It's not always about, what diet is it, but are you sticking to it? And are you looking at it as a way of eating instead of like I'm going to do this for 6 weeks. It's going to help me get healthy. Well, no, if we look back, at our heritage, we look back at our ancestors, they weren't changing their diets every 6 months, every 3 months. That's what they ate their entire lives.
Yeah.
So if you're eating a similar thing your entire life, that's what I'm saying, how your body's going to adapt to where it needs to be, right? And if you're waking up at the same time, or you're exercising at the same time, you don't get your food until later on in the day. Because back when we were hunters and gatherers, do you think we ate, a McDonald's McMuffin at 6 a.m. in the morning?
Yep.
No, we ate until like 1 in the afternoon. If we caught anything, and then we might have not eaten until the next day. So our bodies are designed for that. Our bodies are definitely.
Well, I think that's why when people get stuck on the whole, I have to eat right in the morning, I have to eat this time, I have to eat this time. Like, no, you don't. You really have to eat when you're hungry. That's about it. And then if you're feeling hungry and you want to start snacking, think about what you're eating, right? So if you're not eating properly, you're going to be hungry all the time. And so I would say make sure you're taking in enough water too, because my freaking son, I don't have my my flag up right now. It's just ridiculous on my face right now. I noticed that if you're not taking in enough water, a lot of times hunger is actually it's you're thirsty is one of the big things. So if you're trying to stay on process, what I tell a lot of people, especially ones that are trying to lose a lot of weight, if they're obese or they have a lot of weight to go, is make sure you're constantly drinking water. Water is something that it's a filler. You get a lot of females say, well, what about sucking in water weight? I'm taking in too much water. That's easier to lose than eating a fucking bag of chips and, a bag of pretzels and a bag of bullshit. So if you're instead of snacking, just drink some water and wait till your next meal. Snacking is the devil, if you ask me.
It's interesting how water works. Is actually, if we take on too little water of what our recommendation of water is per day, if we take on too little, that's where we actually see that bloating and that extra water weight. If we're taking in the proper amounts and a little bit more than that, you actually get less bloating. You actually get less bloating when you're taking on that much. Now, of course, if you're taking way too much, you might pack on some water weight, but more than likely your body is going to reject it. I know this because when I was younger, I was trying to actually pass it like a drug test this one time. I started pounding a jug of water, and I drank that whole jug. And before I got there, I threw the whole thing up. Like,
oh, really?
There's no, your body's going to reject it if you have too much of it. So I wouldn't be too concerned. Yes, there is a danger to drinking too much water, but you literally have to do what I did and just try to pound some water like that in such a short period of time.
So my buddy Chad, who I was making fun of earlier, Chad, I don't know if you heard it, but I was talking shit about you. He says, is there any suggestions for somebody trying to get in shape to compete? He's the one that I'm telling you that we're actually we're getting ready for a race that we can't really talk about yet. But it's going to be a pretty vigorous race.
Yeah, and if you're competing, it depends on what you're competing. I mean, obviously you're competing for a race, but if it's like bodybuilding, it'd be a different story. But if you're competing for something, you're definitely going to want to modify your calories around that. So what that means is you're also going to need to find the right amount of foods that's going to, if it's going to be a race, I'm assuming it's going to be like a long race. You're going to want to be taking
about 50 days.
Yeah, so you're going to want to be taking in types of items that are going to promote that storage of energy. So you might even want to take in on a little bit more fats than if you're doing the carnivore diet. I don't know. Is he doing the carnivore diet with you?
He's not. No, he's just doing balanced diet. I told him he needs to make sure he's in a constant deficit, but also making sure he's getting his proper nutrients and minerals.
Yeah. So our body's going. You want to be able to, especially if you're going to be going that long. You're definitely going to want to have a storage of energy in you. So maybe your goal wouldn't be like quite the 6-pack, right now, because if you're going to be running that long, you definitely want to have that stored energy to be, because by the time you come out to the end of it, you're probably going to burn that stuff off.
Doing research on this thing, it's you usually lose about 20 pounds on this race. Yeah. So my plan is actually to stay what I'm doing, but about 2 weeks beforehand, I'm going to pack on as much fat as I can.
Yeah.
So likely
for something like that, if you're training for something specific like that, because again, we're going to be fighting homeostasis, so we want to actually pack some calories in and pack some stored energy in, right?
Yeah.
So make sure you're getting the right amount of fats. If you're not on a carnivore diet, that's cool too. So you're going to want to get some of your carbs, because what's going to happen, that's going to be stored as fat. So what happens, for those of you that don't know, glucose is, when we eat our carbs, stored as glucose, right? Our blood glucose. So it's taken in by insulin. All right. And so it has a process in the liver where it's converted to glycogen and then converted into fat. So what happens is our body burns off that glycogen through the liver first before we can tap into our fat cells, convert that back into glycogen to burn that off as well. So if you have that stored fat, wherever, if you're doing a run, that you're going to burn off that glycogen first from the liver, and then you're going to take those fat cells, you're going to convert those again, and you're going to have some more energy on that run.
Yeah. One thing I'm going to recommend too for the carnivore diet, which I'm actually doing this time, I did a 0 carb carnivore diet. Now that's if you're going strict, right? The one thing you got to think about, if you're on a strict carnivore diet, if you do cheat and eat pizza or something like that, or you cheat and eat some kind of carbs, you're going to feel the effects a little bit more. If it's shit food. I noticed that I have some inflammation issues anytime I cheat, unless it's specific. So what I started doing is taking in about 22 grams of carbs before I work out, because I noticed that I'm going to burn those carbs right away. So I see there's zero negative effect that I've noticed so far in taking in some carbs before I eat, whether it be a banana or a packet of oatmeal or something like that. I do the unhealthy stuff. The fucking Quaker oatmeal packets with a little bit of sugar in them. I love those. But because I am an athlete and everything like that, that little amount of sugar isn't going to affect me. I burn through it so goddamn quick. So I lift weights three-ish days a week, and I train jiu-jitsu 2 days a week. On top of that, I usually go hiking as well. So I'm working out about 6 days a week. And every time I do some kind of workout, I'll take in some kind of carbs before my workout, because I've noticed that extra energy really helps my performance. So now when I was on carnivore diet, back when I was strict, I noticed that even in jiu-jitsu, I was fine. And when I started rolling, it took me a long time to, I call it the plateau of just feeling like an animal when I'm training jiu-jitsu. Sometimes I'm way too tired. Sometimes I'm exhausted, or I'm just not warmed up enough. But when I get to that hot spot, that beautiful plateau of just crush, kill, destroy, I love that. But it took me so much longer to get there. Once I got there, I was fine, and I could last for a long time. But what I've noticed now is I've only been on the carnivore diet for like a week now again. But I've started taking, about 20, like I said, about 20, 25 grams of carbs beforehand. I hit my plateau much quicker, and I can stay there. So I would say that if you are an athlete, or if you are, working out a lot, I would say take in a little bit of carbs before you work out, at least, because it will help with your energy, from what I've noticed. So I don't know if you would back that.
Yeah, you're gonna want to take those.
So with those, what carbs would you recommend before a workout? Because I usually stick with oatmeal or a banana.
So before a workout, so the way and this is going to be different than probably what you've heard, but again, I preach well-balanced meals. I don't pack in carbs before a workout. I usually eat my carbs like the night before. Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to work out in the evening, I'm still going to, if I'm having a well-balanced meal and I'm putting everything in my body throughout the day, I don't need to worry about when I pack on carbs. I don't need to worry about when I'm putting in protein. I don't take any supplements. I take absolutely nothing. I do everything completely natural. I'm not against supplements. I certainly help people find the right supplements for them if they are in a deficiency. But I get everything I need from just eating the way I eat, right? Okay. I can eat my proteins throughout the day and then go work out. Great. My body's going to utilize that protein. There's no such thing as actually going into that anabolic window where you actually have to, like, 30 minutes afterwards, you got to have a pound in these scoops of protein. That's not a real thing, right? You can do that if you're not getting enough protein, but if you're getting it throughout the day, you don't need to. And if
you were to say somebody is on the carnivore diet and they need those little extra carbs to help them with their workouts, so you're saying that you don't think it matters when you take them in during the day?
No. No, it's not going to matter when you take it in during the day. Not as much. If you're doing strictly like you're saying 100% zero carbs, and obviously you're not going to be taking those. But are you talking about if you're partially on a carnivore diet and you're trying to just take in something for
I'm strictly carnivore now.
Energy, then you're going to be better off with black coffee and have some energy than you are putting in some carbs. Right?
Okay.
Because if you're looking at putting in carbs, that recommendation is going to go way up, way down, depending on your body. So there's no way I can tell you the exact number that you need to put in and exact time of the day that you need to eat like a bowl of spaghetti,
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to be better off either taking like a caffeine pill or drinking some black coffee before your exercise and using that as energy or using that to boost up your energy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, maybe I'll try that the next 2 weeks and see how it goes. I can get back to you. My buddy Chad says he wants to link up with you. So Chad, I don't know if you're still listening, but I'll introduce you guys after the podcast. He's this kid is determined. I'll tell you about the race after we get off camera. I can't be blasting it right now because it's not 100% official. So
yeah.
But yeah, so how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I run the group. You see the banner running at the bottom, Veteran Dad's Health and Fitness. So if you want to join that group, you are a veteran dad. You can certainly look up that group. We can I don't know how you put links on here. I've never used this platform before, but you can certainly join that group. I got some great lessons in Veteran Dad's Health and Fitness on what you need to do to get started, how you need to basically track yourself and keep yourself on point. It's a great community to keep yourself, motivated and moving forward. And again, it's that big sense of accountability. We have all these guys in there that are boosting each other up and that are lifting each other up. And so it's a great way to be accountable. Another way to reach out to me is just Facebook Messenger. If you want to message me on Facebook, that's a great way to get a hold of me. I like that more than my regular cell phone text messenger because I have a little bubble that pops up on my phone and says, someone listens to you. Oh, cool. I use that more, with anybody than anything else. I think it's a great, messaging app. So if you want to message me directly, go straight to my profile, message me. If you're a veteran dad looking to join the group, it's Veteran Dad's Health and Fitness. You're all welcome.
Awesome, man. Thank you. So if anybody's looking for somebody to help them out, it seems like David is a good person to kick you in the ass to get you in shape. But I would always say it starts with yourself. You need to reach out. You need to be able to dedicate. If you don't have any dedication with this kind of stuff, it's not going to work. You can tell somebody all day what they need to do, but if you don't apply it, it's not going to work. So I would say, if you're really thinking about looking into getting in shape, losing some extra pounds or gaining some muscle, contact guys like David, but also get in the mindset that you have to do all the work. The good thing is we're only there to give advice. You get to do all the work, and the person doing the work gets all the credit. We're just tools. I think too many people reach out to personal trainers looking for them to do the work for them. It's like, that's not how it works, man. We're just going to tell you what to do. All right, dude. Well, we'll talk soon. Just don't leave. I'm just going to drop you off real quick so I can do my exit real quick, and then I'll come on. We'll chat again for a minute.
All right, brother. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you guys for tuning into Warriors Next Adventure podcast. I'm going to fix this damn curtain. It's driving me nuts. Okay, so we don't really have any events coming up anytime soon. So as of now, I'm just going to send you over to check out tklknives.com. Again, use promo code WARRIOR at your checkout and you will get 10% off. And Tim donates that 10% to the nonprofit. Also, go ahead and go over and check out Buffalo Custom Engraving. You can go to warriorsnextadventure.com, go to the shop, and go over to the Chucky's ready for me to be done. Go over to the store and scroll over to the cups. We have the my kids threw me off course here. So we have the water bottles and we have the tumblers. Those things are amazing. Click on there. It'll take you over to Buffalo Custom Engraving. Rocky is actually an Air Force veteran as well. So not only are you supporting them, but you are supporting us as well. So we will all talk soon. Again, go ahead and check out Veteran Dad's Health and Fitness. If you are a veteran dad, you want to get in shape, go ahead and go over there. David puts out a lot of good stuff. I likely will be posting some carnivore stuff here and there as long as he allows me to. And we will all talk soon. Thanks, guys.